What's going on, everybody? This is D-Trav, and welcome back to Knicks at Night TV. This is episode 3. Let's do it.
That's right. He's able to have a little fun. Look at it. He's begging for the basketball. He thinks about it and begs.
So I see a lot of people, are very disappointed after last week's draft, and the Knicks fell to number 3. Everybody thought we was gonna go get number 1, and we was gonna get Zion Williamson.
The third pick goes to the New York Knicks.
You should have gone for the head.
I'm here to tell you fans that everything's is going to be okay, even though we didn't get Zion. I mean, I love Zion's game. He's a beast. He's an animal on the court. Even I was saying that I believe that, of course, I know that we're going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Let's just pray to the gods. But I believe it's going to happen, that we're going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And he's like a more athletic Draymond Green. He really doesn't need the ball to score. So I thought he would be a great fit next to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But now that, we have the number 3 pick, and it's projected, by all the mock drafts that we're going to get Barrett instead of Zion Williamson, everything is going to be okay. Like, Barrett is a very, very good player. Like, I'm a big fan of Barrett. I like Barrett a lot. And he's a beast. Like, the kid reminds me of Jalen Rose. Like, if some of you guys are old enough to remember Jalen Rose's game, he was a crafty left-hander. He could play the point guard, shooting guard, small forward. Very good player. But Barrett reminds me just of Jalen Rose. But let's say a more athletic Jalen Rose. And he has the dog mentality. He has the Kobe Mamba mentality. A lot of people during the year would say that, Barrett was hating on Zion. He should have passed him the ball more, and he was chucking at times. But Zion and Barrett have a great relationship. As fact, they are filed as saying that, they are very good friends and possibly best friends. So I don't think Barrett ever had a problem with Zion Williamson. I like Barrett a lot. Like, he has a lot of heart. And that's what you need in the NBA. Those type of players where you want them to get the ball, but they just standing in the corner and they're not aggressive enough at times. Those are the type of players that, you really eggs me. But Barrett, he's the guy that's going to try to get the ball at the end of the game, take over the game. He's never going to just be standing in the corner. He's going to do something he believes to help his team win. And saying that, I have to say this. As much as I love Barrett, you know who I love even more than Barrett? Anthony Davis. So there's been a long debate, between the Knicks fans and fans on the internet. I'm seeing in the Knicks community, there's mixed reviews about the trade of Barrett for Anthony Davis. Let me just start off by saying there should be no dispute at all about trading Barrett for Anthony Davis. As far as I'm concerned, Barrett has 0 minutes in the NBA. So we don't know. We saw what he did in college and what he did on a high school level. We don't know what he's going to do in the NBA. We don't know at all. I believe the kid is going to still be a good player. But even in his rookie year, do you really think that Barrett is going to equal up to what Anthony Davis will do in the NBA? Even if it's not just Barrett. Some people are saying, yes, we like Anthony Davis, but I don't want to trade all our assets for Anthony Davis. Let's just get this straight, okay? If you're talking about assets that the Knicks have, you're talking about the number 3 pick, which would be RJ Barrett. You're talking about Kevin Knox, who had a shaky last year. I mean, he showed improvement over the year, but he had a shaky last year. Who else do we have? We have Dennis Smith Jr., we have Frank, and I'm not going to mention Alonzo Trier, because if you watched my last video, I told you Alonzo Trier is Kevin Durant's good friend, so he's not going anywhere. We're not trading Alonzo Trier. So it will be Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox. I don't want to say Mitchell Robinson, man. If push comes to shove, we had to give up Mitchell Robinson, I would do it, but I want to keep Mitchell Robinson. I feel like Mitchell Robinson is a good fit for the team we have going forward, and he's shown the most improvement over the year last year of all the rookies that we had, you know. So I'm okay with getting rid of Dennis Smith Jr. As a matter of fact, the Pelicans are on file saying, I don't know if the rumors are true or not, that they have no interest in Kevin Knox. So I guess we could keep Kevin Knox if they don't want him. We would just swap out Kevin Knox and maybe trade Dennis Smith Jr., RJ Barrett, and the Dallas picks that we have. Hopefully that would be enough. If that's not enough, and they force our hand, and we have to trade Mitchell Robinson, like I said before, I don't want to do it, but we will have to do it, because let's get into Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in the NBA. Top 5. Kevin Durant is a top 5 NBA player. Now, Knicks fans, please listen, hear me out. When in the history of the Knicks have we had 2 top 5 players in the NBA on our team? Like, come on, let's be serious. You worried about trading a couple of draft picks and rookie players for a top 5 player in the NBA, a top 5? Even if the hater Max Kellerman has been on record as saying that Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis is on pace to be 2 of the best players in the NBA. You got to give credit to Patrick Ewing, of course. You got to give credit to Carmelo Anthony. But there wasn't ever a top 5 player in the NBA. As a matter of fact, I want you to think about all the great teams in NBA history that have won championships. They have had at least a top 3, a top 4 player in the NBA. And that's why they won championships. Like, I mean, yes, basketball is a team sport, but it does help you when you have some of the best talent in the NBA on your team. The Bulls had Michael Jordan, who was, of course, considered one of the greatest players ever in the NBA. The Cavaliers and the Heat, when they won, they had LeBron James, considered the best player in the NBA. The Spurs, when they was winning the championships, they had Tim Duncan. He's considered one of the top 4 players in the NBA. Who else? Golden State Warriors, they have Kevin Durant. They have Steph Curry, considered one of the top 5 guards in the NBA. Go down the line as far as championships in the NBA, and you can see why these teams are winning. The Houston Rockets, they had Akeem Olajuwon. At the time when the Rockets won the championship, Michael Jordan was no longer in the NBA, and Akeem Olajuwon was considered the best player in the NBA. I say that to say this. Don't be so hard on the Knicks if we don't have the talent to win these championships. Yes, we haven't won since, I believe, 73 it was. Oh, my goodness. I wasn't even born in 73. But yes, we haven't won since 73, but we have never had a top 5 player on our roster. This summer, we have a chance to have 2 top 5 players plus a top 5 point guard and Kyrie Irving on the roster. That would create a big 3. Come on now. Think about it. A big 3? Why would you want to deny a big 3? You know, some people are saying like, oh, but what about the future? You know, we want to keep building and have consistent winning within the organization. We can do that. Check this out. I believe Kevin Durant is 31 years old. At the time next year's season start, Kyrie Irving is 27, and Anthony Davis is, I believe, 26 years old. So that gives you time. That gives you like a 3 to 4 year period where Kevin Durant will have 3 to 4 years with the Knicks to win a championship. Let's say we win about 2 championships. You think it's not going to be worth it to trade it for Anthony Davis if we could guarantee 2-3 championships in the next 4 years? And then after Kevin Durant's contract is up, you still will have Kyrie Irving, who will only be 30 years old. These guys are still in their prime, 30 years old. and Anthony Davis will only be about 29 years old. 29. So what are you talking about? The future. Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving after Kevin Durant leave is our future. You know, we still will have young players on the roster. It's not like we're going to trade all of our young players. We will keep Damian Johnson unless the Pelicans want him. We will still have Alonzo Trier. I mean, I need you guys to think about what Anthony Davis type of player he is. We all know how efficient Kevin Durant is. We all know how great he is. He's 7 foot. He can shoot from anywhere. He has a handle. He's unstoppable. Arguably one of the best players in the NBA, whether you like Kevin Durant or LeBron James, that's debatable. But Anthony Davis, come on, Anthony Davis. What can he not do? I mean, we gave Kristaps Porzingis the name as the unicorn, but to be truly honest, Anthony Davis is the unicorn. The guy is 6'10". He can shoot threes. He has a handle. He can get to the racket anytime he wants because there's no big man in the NBA that could guard him. He can post up. He can pass the ball. He plays defense. He blocks shots. He gets rebounds. That's one of the knocks of Porzingis is that he didn't rebound a lot. But Anthony Davis gets rebounds. And there's nothing Anthony Davis cannot do on the court. Some may argue that, well, he's injured a lot. But last year, you know, towards the end, I could say like the Pelicans were, you could say they was tanking or trying to protect Anthony Davis. They were sitting him out for no reason. But he didn't get injured that much. I think he had the minor shoulder injury last year around the All-Star break. I believe that's what was wrong with him. But other than that, Anthony Davis wasn't really injured that much last year. So I would strongly consider trading what the Pelicans want for Anthony Davis to make a big three in New York. If you look at it, we will have the best big three ever since LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Or even Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce. You could argue that, big threes don't always work, but the Celtics, when they had their big three, they won the championship. The Heat, even though it took them a while to click, because they had to, decide the pecking order, who was really the man on the team. Was it LeBron? Was it Dwayne Wade? Who should have the ball more? But eventually, the Heat was able to win championships, numerous championships with their big three. Some may say, look at Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh game turned into basically a three-point shooter because he was playing with two other All-Stars. And they could say that, that probably will happen to Anthony Davis. Why would you pay all that money, to have, or trade all those assets to have Anthony Davis on your team when you're going to already have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis might not be as versatile as he once was. He might be like a Chris Bosh, just shooting threes. But you got to think about it like this. Kevin Durant is not exactly LeBron James. If you look at the way LeBron James plays, right, and the way that he dominates the ball and he either is going to score or get these assists, you have to put shooters around LeBron James. And that is why Kevin Love and Chris Bosh had a hard time at first adjusting at the power forward position with LeBron because he was so ball dominant. Kevin Durant is not LeBron James. He's not going to turn Anthony Davis into a three-point shooter because Kevin Durant is one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA. He could play off the ball. He could play on the ball. He could play on the block. Kevin Durant is like a chameleon. He'll just adapt until the system that Coach Fizdale puts on the floor with him and Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, and there should not be a problem. We would definitely come out the East with those three on our roster, and then we could just build with veteran minimums and also other players with rookie contracts as the supporting system for those three players. Now, let's get into this. I have an actual solution. I have a solution to our problem of fans saying, well, I don't want to trade all our assets and our draft picks for Anthony Davis. Why don't we just wait for Anthony Davis to be a free agent? We made that mistake with Carmelo Anthony. But guess what? The Anthony Davis situation is not like the Carmelo Anthony situation because we cannot wait for Anthony Davis to become a free agent because we will not have enough cap room. The only way we can have the big three with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis is we sign Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant as free agents, but in order to fit underneath the cap, We have to trade for Anthony Davis. We can't straight out sign for Anthony Davis. We have to trade for Anthony Davis. So once we trade for Anthony Davis, which is the same situation that the Cavaliers was in when LeBron went back to Cleveland. LeBron went back to Cleveland and they had the number 1 pick and they had Kyrie Irving. The number 1 pick turned out to be Andrew Wiggins, and then the Cavaliers traded Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. I believe they had, after they drafted Andrew Wiggins, they had to wait about 30 days, I think it was. So the Knicks may be in a similar situation. Once they draft RJ Barrett, they would have to then trade for Anthony Davis 30 days later, I believe, after July 1st. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that is the situation. So yes, we cannot wait for Anthony Davis to become a free agent once we get Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, because we won't have enough money underneath the cap. So we have to trade for him if we want to form a big three. Now, back to my solution about having future assets as well as having Anthony Davis. All right? This will make everybody happy. We can have Anthony Davis and we still can have young players on the roster that will strive in the future with Anthony Davis, since he will be the youngest piece. All right, so if we draft RJ Barrett and we trade him in the future for Anthony Davis, what we could do for all you guys who are in love with RJ Barrett, we could trade Frank Ntilikina for a first-round pick this year. We could debate what pick we can get, but let's just say anywhere from the 20th pick to like 26. I mean, Frank was a top 10 draft pick. So, I figured with the way he played the last couple of years, his value may have went down as a player, but he still was a top 10 pick. So we should be able to get a 20 to 30th pick for Frank, to be honest with you. And the player I'm looking at to draft once we trade Frank for a draft pick this year is Kevin Porter Jr. For most of you guys that are not familiar with Kevin Porter Jr., he is also a shooting guard out of USC. That's the University of Southern California, the same college that O.J. Mayo went to. Now, Kevin Porter Jr., his hometown is Seattle, Washington. If you know anything about Seattle, Washington, boy, does that city have ballers. You have players such as Nate Robinson. Who else came out of Seattle? Last year, Michael Porter Jr. was from Seattle. If any of you guys remember Brandon Warren, who was on the Portland Trail Blazers before he got injured and his career was over, out of Seattle. Jamal Crawford is out of Seattle. Tony Roten Jr. is out of Seattle. Seattle has a lot of good ball players. And this kid I'm talking about, Kevin Porter Jr., he is very good. He's very comparable to RJ Barrett. About the same size as RJ Barrett. He's left-handed. Kid has handle. He can shoot. He can get to the rock. He can get to the paint and get to the rim. And he's just a straight scorer. Some of you guys may be thinking, if this kid, Kevin Porter Jr. is so good, why would he drop all the way down to number 20, 24, 25 for the Knicks to get him? Well, the reason for that is the same reason that Michael Porter Jr. last year dropped all the way down to number 14 when he should have been the top 3 pick. Just like Michael Porter Jr. last year, this year, Kevin Porter Jr. didn't play a lot of games for UFC because he got injured. He got injured during the year, so he wasn't able to play a lot. And once he came back from injury in January, he got into a little, I don't know if it was an altercation. I don't know. He had some problems with the coach at UFC, and the coach, I think, sat him out for the rest of the year. So that made his stock drop as far as being a high draft pick. But Kevin Porter Jr. is a great player. I'm gonna get into some highlights of Kevin Porter Jr. so you can see how great he is. There's some YouTube clips of him saying it's Kevin Porter Jr. the next James Harden. I wouldn't go that far as saying he's the next James Harden, but I would say this: if we could have Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. We re-signed DeAndre Jordan for the vet minimum. We can have Alonzo Trier, Kevin Porter Jr., Kevin Knox, if the Pelicans don't want Kevin Knox, and Damian Dotson. You have your big three, and you also have future assets as far as Kevin Knox, Kevin Porter Jr., and Damian Dotson and Alonzo Trier. So that solves your solution right there of still having young players as well as having a big three. So think about that. And this is KnicksatNiteTv. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see, hit that bell in the corner, subscribe to my channel, and feel free to comment below. You can catch me once again on KnicksatNiteTv. I'll be on Instagram.com. You can check out my page there, or YouTube.com for the next episode. Peace!